I want to reclaim Harry Potter. I want to make it our own again. And I want to take JK Rowling out of the equation because she doesn't belong anymore.
Hi, I'm Yukalai, and this is my new channel on YouTube. This channel is dedicated to writing.
This is uncomfortable. 2020 has been a shit year, and a lot of bad things have happened. I think something that's really defining for a lot of people in the literary community particularly is the actions of JK Rowling and how she has spoken out in a less than desirable way recently to members of the community that really respected her work up until now. It was really disappointing for me as someone who has studied her literary works as works of literature, as an English major at university, to see this happen. But it's not all that rare for authors to kind of shift in a less desirable direction. But I think in JK Rowling's case, there's just something different about her case, and I don't think it's because of cancel culture, and I don't think it's because of, the world we live in today. I don't think it's because of the times. I think it's because it was such a violation to her fan community to have a work that's central message is not to discriminate against people and to be accepting and to be loving and to accept people for who they are, for the author to then turn around and reject people for who they are. It's just kind of a betrayal, I think, to the Harry Potter community. I think that's why there's been such a visceral reaction to it. And I also think, part of that is because of how influential Harry Potter has been to a lot of people. I think that's true for a lot of Harry Potter fans, and I think that's true for a lot of millennials who have, moved into literature. It's one of those seminal pieces that influences us as writers and as creators and as researchers. And so it's a big deal whenever someone like JK Rowling turns on us. I've been thinking for months now about what to do about it. I did the math on, the whole idea of throwing out the books and refusing to buy anything Harry Potter related, and it just doesn't add up. She's already made millions. A few hundred people refusing to buy more products from her isn't going to make a difference. And not to mention the fact that she doesn't actually make a huge amount of money off of each individual item. I mean, she makes like a cent off of every book that you buy. Most of the rest of that money goes to the publisher, goes to the, charities that she set up for the books and other things like that. And the more that I did research into that, the more that I realized she has actually done really good things since becoming an author as well. This is the first time that she's really done something despicable and something to make me question her. But she's donated so much money to really amazing funds and foundations. I mean, she's done good things. It's not like she's this evil, horrible devil person. Which has made me try to figure out what to do about this. I did an in-depth study into Harry Potter. It's not published or anything because I'm just a grad student. But I did an in-depth study into the books looking for any kind of anti-trans, messages, and I didn't find any. On the contrary, I found a lot of, messages about being true to yourself, even if people don't like it or don't agree with it. Even if the whole world's kind of against you about it, you should just be you. That's kind of part of the messages of Harry Potter, along with many other wonderful messages in the books. The more that I think about that, the more that I study the books, the more that I learn about JK Rowling and everything that she's done in her life, the more that I feel like Harry Potter was written before she became this way. Which isn't all that surprising considering she started writing the books in 1990. That was 30 years ago. Of course she was a different person when she started writing the books. Of course she was a different person when she finished the books. It's really not that strange of an idea, and I think that a lot of people are overlooking the fact that she has gone through a lot of changes as a human being and as a person since she started writing the books and since she finished them. I don't think she had this anti-trans mentality when she wrote the books. I watched an interview with Alfonso Cuarón, the director, and he said that he felt like, inclusivity of the LGBTQ community was just part of the book naturally, which is why he had the actor play the part of Lupin as if he was in love with Sirius, as if there was chemistry between the two of them, because that's how he read it. This is what happens. There's a huge fan community of Harry Potter, and they see things in the books that aren't necessarily 100% really there. but that are kind of fan accepted headcanons. They're things that the fan community has accepted, like Seamus Finnegan and Dean Thomas being a couple, and Remus Lupin and Sirius Black, at least as students, having been a couple. And the more that I've thought about all of this, and the more that I've racked my brain about it and tried to figure out what to do and how to handle this, and how to be someone who's dedicated to writing and dedicated to literature, while still facing the fact that a lot of authors, including someone that I used to really admire, have some really dark ideas. The more that I've realized that literature is more than just what the author puts on paper. I've been reading some theories lately in my classes about how literature comes alive, you know, after readers read it. Reader response theory is an entire theory dedicated to how readers respond to the writing and how they make it their own. It's made me realize that Harry Potter doesn't just belong to JK Rowling, and so it can't be ruined by her. She can't ruin it. She doesn't have the right to do that anymore, because it's not just hers, it's all of ours. And once I realized that, I realized there's a very simple way to combat what she's done. I think what we need to do is to actively respond to it, just like the actors of Harry Potter films have actively responded to this. The books are already done. They're already written. Because they're protected under copyright, no one's allowed to legally publish a book about Harry Potter or the Harry Potter characters. But it's perfectly legal for us to write fanfiction. Now, most of you probably already know that. But what I realized is that fanfiction is such an amazing tool for responding to a work of literature. And I feel like it's the perfect medium to which to respond to JK Rowling's recent cruelty. As such, I have made a bit of a radical decision. I originally started this YouTube channel as a writing tips YouTube channel, and I realized it's not very helpful, and there are a lot of videos on YouTube about writing tips, and I feel like I'm kind of talking into the void about it. So I've decided to change route. I'm just gonna let my blog do that, and I'm gonna leave it to my blog. I strongly recommend if you're still looking for that content, please go read my blog. But for this YouTube channel, I've decided instead to dedicate to writing a rewrite of the Harry Potter series. I'm gonna rewrite the books. It's not just gonna be a fanfiction. I'm not just gonna add in a few, scenes to the books. I'm gonna rewrite them completely in order to have more inclusivity. Because I feel like there's a lot of different things that are not inclusive about the books. I don't think it's just trans people. I think that there's not a lot of inclusivity about the entire LGBTQ community. I feel like there's not a lot of inclusivity about the rest of the UK. Like, there are British characters, but when do you hear about a Scottish character, an Irish character, a Welsh character? Where's the ancient culture of the UK that was so strong in that time? Where's the influence of the Viking invasion that took over the UK for 300 years? I think that this series was an amazing opportunity to bring attention to an incredibly compassionate and kind community, which is the Wicca community. The more that I look into the books from a literary analysis standpoint, the more that I dive into them as a grad student for an English program, the more I realize that there are a lot of problems with the books that go beyond thematic problems. There are massive plot holes that I've known about as a fan for years, but I've never really delved into them until now. Like the Time Turner plot hole, the Peter Pettigrew on the Marauders map plot hole. There are so many problems with the books, and I think that some of those problems come from the fact these books were written as children's books, and so they didn't have to make sense. But the community that grew up with Harry Potter, we're all grown up now. We're in our 20s and 30s, and we still love these books, and we want them to mean more than just a children's book who the author turned out to be, a prat. We want these books to mean as much to us in our adult lives as they did in our youth. And so I think we need to do them justice. In this rewrite, I would like to up the age. Rather than writing these books as children's books, I'm going to write them as young adult books, and I'd like to deal with some of these problems. I'd like to deal with these plot holes. I'd like to purposefully be inclusive. I'd like to make Hogwarts make sense, and make the Ministry of Magic make sense, and make it something that can last long after JK Rowling's cruelty, and that can be stronger than JK Rowling's cruelty. And I'd like to invite everyone to do the same. We don't have to give up Harry Potter just because the writer turned out to be a prat. These books belong to us too. This world belongs to us too. I think it's important to show how much we respect the stories themselves rather than her, and respect what they're supposed to represent. I want to reclaim Harry Potter. I want to make it our own again. And I want to take JK Rowling out of the equation because she doesn't belong anymore. She hasn't added anything really fruitful, meaningful to Harry Potter in years. This channel is going to be dedicated to this rewrite project from now on. It's a big project, but I've been writing Harry Potter fanfiction for almost 15 years now. I'm really not concerned about it taking forever. I don't think it will, actually. I've rewritten the books before, but I never put them online. So this one will be published. I would like to put this online. I would like to make this publicly available. And I would love if you guys would follow me along on the process and read it whenever it gets out. I've done a lot of work on Harry Potter in the past, and I will be using a lot of that already. So it's not like I'm starting from scratch. But I would like to cover some of that cannibalization process in these videos, and I would like to bring that up. I don't expect to be planning for very long. I'm gonna make a list of all the changes that I like to make for the Harry Potter series, and I'm gonna make videos covering those lists. I'll probably make 2 videos because I expect that's probably gonna be a long list. The Harry Potter series legally belongs to JK Rowling, so I cannot sell this, and I don't want to because I don't feel the need to make money off of this. This is something that I'm doing as a fan, and it's something that I'm giving to the fan community, and I don't need to make money off of it. So I won't be selling the fan fiction. It's just a fan fiction. That's all it is. I mean, it's a rewrite. It's a massive rewrite. It's a massive fan fiction, but it is just a fan fiction. So the planning process might take the rest of this semester, so I might start writing in January or sooner. I hope that you'll stick around. If you don't, please go write your own fanfiction. I strongly encourage us here in the Harry Potter community to, reclaim this series that means so much to us, and don't let JK Rowling ruin it with her hate. Don't let that happen. This is a series that belongs to us too, and I don't think we need to give it up just because of her.